Hi, I'm Alex, and this is the Poetry Pea podcast. If you are a regular to Poetry Pea, you'll know that if I'm hosting, we're off to the future. This time, we're traveling to India in the company of Triveni Haikai India, who are joint sponsors of today's podcast. Many thanks to Carla Ramesh, founder of Triveni, who helped us get in touch with the poets you'll hear read today. And of course, a big thanks to those poets who have taken time to come along and read us some of their poetry and tell us about Triveni Haikai India. They'll read us some poems that have been previously published, and you'll find those in the show notes, along with their bios. They've also composed poetry especially for us, and those poems will be in the next journal, 524, out at the end of October. It'll be interesting to compare the poetry we hear read today with that from the previous podcast. Is there a difference between style between those North American poets and those from India? You tell me. The previous episode is Season 7, Episode 16, and the link will be in the show notes. If you enjoy this, please tell your friends about us, subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you listen to, and of course, give us some likes on YouTube. Now, shall we go and meet our poets? Hello, everybody. This is Alex with the Poetry Pea podcast. Very special treat for you today. We're having a collaboration with Triveni Haikai India. And so we've got some great poets coming up today. First of all, we're going to have a chat with Muskan, one of the principal people at Triveni Haikai India, as well as Namrata at the end. And we're going to also hear some great poets who are published in many of the journals associated with that organization.
Hi, and good evening from India, Alex.
Good evening to you.
It's an honor to be here with you and other poets for the live poetry reading. I'm happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So please tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into poetry? Where are you from? Anything interesting about you want to share?
Right. So my name is Muskan Ahuja, and I'm the host of the Think Along feature of Triveni Haikai India. I have a deep appreciation for good food, art, poetry, and even books that really nourish my mind and warm my heart. Besides, I live in Chandigarh, India, with my family.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about Triveni Haikai India, about the organization, what it does.
Of course. Well, first, I would like to explain the meaning of Triveni, and then I'll delve into its essence in detail. In the Indian tradition, the word Triveni means the confluence of three major rivers, and they are Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. In the context of Haikai, it symbolizes India, Japan, and the rest of the world coming together to revel in Haikai literature. Now, I would like to share how Triveni Haikai India came to life. It is the tireless efforts of Kala Ramesh, the founder and director of Triveni Haikai India, that first led to the founding of I Haiku, a Facebook forum on 23rd February 2013 at the Haiku Utsav in Pune. The name I Haiku means being on the path, with IN also representing India. And that's beautiful, I think, isn't it? And in 2016,
I should say so, yes.
Right. And in 2016, I Haiku evolved into a larger community of haikai enthusiasts, and it became popular as Triveni. So Triveni Haikai India is a beautiful website that was officially launched on September 18, 2021. This website was lovingly designed by Rohan Kevin Broch, and the river photo that you see on the homepage, that was a contribution by Ashok Viswanathan. So I would say that this website has a simple and aesthetic vibe. Check it out yourself.
I have checked it out myself, and I found that there was a lot of different content on there that people could enjoy. Can you tell us a bit more about what kind of things we might find on the website?
Right, certainly. And your question, Alex, has also set me thinking what Triveni Haikai India doesn't offer. So I'll just take you through the website verbally. Triveni Haikai India offers several categories to explore, and I would like to name only a few, such considering the time that we have. So, first feature that we have is Triveni Spotlight, which is a popular column that showcases some of the finest works of published haiku and tanka from all over the world every alternate day. Secondly, we have Haiku Sutradhar, wherein the poets thread their poems, their moments, and it looks as if it's a long string of poems. And that's what Sutradhar means. And then we have Think Along, my personal favorite feature that also has further variants such as Think Along, Write Along, and Laugh Along. These variants enable poets to think, laugh, and write haiku and senryu based on their moments of unexpected insight and wonder. The next we
Well,
have is right.
I was actually interested in asking you more about Think Along because I believe this is the publication that you are running for Triveni.
Right,
Is that right?
right. So Think Along is a wonderful feature of Triveni Haikai India that is under the blog section on the website. I have been involved with it since 2020. And initially, I contributed through Iron Haiku Facebook forum, which I mentioned earlier. And I clearly remember how I used to look for interesting poems, quotes, and writing exercises that would, inspire hygienes to reflect, write, laugh about everyday experiences in their own unique ways. So truly, it was an immensely satisfying experience for me. Think Along was a big hit back then, and even today it is. So I would also like to tell you how we work for this particular feature. Since the inception of the website Triveni Haikai India, we have been inviting poets from India and beyond to contribute as the guest editor of Think Along and provide valuable feedback to the poets so that they learn, they grow in their craft and in their own writing process and their in their life in general. So I would say that I consider Think Along as my own baby. It's something I love, I nurture, I refine, and I take immense pride in seeing it grow. So far, it has been a rich and fulfilling journey for me. And I look forward to, see its force bringing joy and adding richness to the global Haikai community. Thank you so much, Alex.
Well, thank you. And thank you for telling us so much more about Triveni Haikai India, about Think Along, and about some of the other things that we can find on the website. I would recommend everybody to go and check that out. It will also be in the show notes, of course. So, Muskan, it would be great as well now to hear your own poems, which are part of this program. So why don't we start with those to kick us off with the rest of the poets?
Right. So I would start reading my published poems first. Here it goes. Gang rape. The ribbon comes loose from her pigtail. Gang rape. The ribbon comes loose from her pigtail. It was published in issue 10 of Haiku Katha. Turbulence. My every decision now filtered through marriage. Turbulence. My every decision now filtered through marriage. It was published in issue 10 of Haiku Katha. Just enough time to see the falling rain. Hospital window. Just enough time to see the falling rain. Hospital window. It was published in the Haiku Foundation in 2018. And the last published poem, Funeral Day. Her off-white sari, so crisp. Funeral Day. Her off-white sari, so crisp. It was published in Poetry Pea podcast in April 2022. Now, I would like to read my 2 unpublished poems. Long bus journey. The boy refuses to share his favorite cookie. Long bus journey. The boy refuses to share his favorite cookie. And the second one. Evening rain. Half a cup of masala chai, half a cup of memories. Evening rain, half a cup of masala chai, half a cup of memories. That's all. Thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you very much, Muskan, for reading out your poems to us. I think this is a great way to get started. Okay, well, thank you, Naya. You are up next. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the poems.
Sure. Thank you, Alex. Firstly, I would like to say thanks to Patricia and Kala for making me part of this podcast. I am Neha R. Krishna from Mumbai. I'm a poet and translator, uh, and I work as a creative writer with Pocket FM. Pocket FM is basically it's a audio streaming platform uh, working worldwide in multiple languages, and I handle their Indian shows, and we do. I handle the Indian shows for the YouTube vertical. Um, I'll be reading my published poem first, published haiku, followed by published haiku, and then the set of 3 unpublished haiku. My first published haiku: gentle rain, even on the grave with no flowers. Gentle rain, even on the grave with no flowers. This was the winning haiku of Weighing Raindrop Haiku Contest 2020. So the next up is Haiku. It was published in Contemporary Haiku Online, December 2021. The title is Sepia Prints. Just the usual family dinner with old stories, cousins, and laughter. All the gens gather in one room with their drinks and conversation on politics and trading. The ladies are in another room. They wear loud jewelry, but gossips in whispers. I wonder why they bring kids to such parties. I sit silently, holding my mother's pallu. A couple of cousins of my age play with their toys. They were smart enough to bring their toys. My mother brushes my short wavy hair with her fingers. Go play with your cousins, she says. Wearing a little smile, I go and sit near them and watch them play. They obviously don't want to share their toys with me. It's written all over their faces. There's another cousin, much older than me, serving snacks in both the rooms. He comes and asks me why a little angel like me is sitting alone. I have a toy in my room, he says. I can teach you how to play with it. Broken doll in the crack of its lips, silence. Broken doll in the crack of its lips, silence. Now I'll be reading my unpublished haiku. A stench clinging to my shadow, hospital garden. A stench clinging to my shadow, hospital garden. I too have a story to tell, summer rains. I too have a story to tell, summer rains. Orange rind, the taste of his word I wish to spit. Orange rind, the taste of his word I wish to spit. That's all from me. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Neha. Okay, great. Well, the next poet I would like to call up will be Ikra.
Hi, I'm Ikra. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Huge thanks to Patricia and to Color Ramesh as well for letting me do this. I am from New Delhi, but right now I'm joining from Cyprus, and I'm actually a PhD student at the University of Houston in the English department. How I got into haiku is actually very serendipitously. So I had joined the writers' workshop that Color Ramesh was one of the mentors for back in 2014, which was probably the very first edition of the workshop. And I took the haiku workshop there for 3 days. But interestingly, the workshop did not stop at 3 days because we still continue to workshop our poems in groups, over emails, as well as on the Triveni Haikai website. So, yep, that's my little haiku story.
Great. Let's get into your poems.
Yeah, so I will be reading my published poems first. And I will start with Grand's Death. I fold my grief into origami flowers. Grand's death. I fold my grief into origami flowers. And this was published in Haiku Katha in the issue 5 in March 2022. Granny's illness, keeping us together, visiting hours. Granny's illness, keeping us together, visiting hours. And this was awarded the second prize in the UPIA Haiku Festival in 2018 in the Jane Richard International Prize category. My next one is First Light, the tall shadows of little Buddhas. First Light, the tall shadows of little Buddhas. This is from Cattails. It was published in Youth Corner in September 2016. And then my last published poem will be Long Journey. Pausing for water, I drink the moon. Long journey. Pausing for water, I drink the moon. This was also published in Cattails in the Youth Corner, January 2015, but also received the second prize in Matsuo Bosco International Award in 2015. And now for my two unpublished poems, I'll recite the first one. New house. The time it takes to unpack my loneliness. New house. The time it takes to unpack my loneliness. And the last one, empty house. Some more rainwater in the mailbox. Empty house. Some more rainwater in the mailbox. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Ikra. Those are some beautiful poems. So the next person I'm going to ask to come up is Sankara. So Sankara, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into your poems.
Yes. First of all, a sincere thank you to Kala Ramesh, Patricia, and Alex for this opportunity to be on this wonderful podcast. So, I am Shankara Jain from Hyderabad, India. I am a software engineer by profession, but being a poet and an artist, the rest of the time feels to be as much about survival as my profession. Life is often overwhelming. The haikai forms have provided me with a much needed framework for dealing with the world. Apart from writing haiku about living things, senju about unsettled thoughts about the world, I have started creating haiga using my digital art. which includes animation and Sumi-inspired paintings. They usually aim for a meditative feel, both for me when I'm doing it and for the viewer when they look at them. That's it about me.
Well, thank you. Let's please get into your poems.
Feeding strays, a pup nibbling on dad's lungi. Feeding strays, a pup nibbling on dad's lungi. This was first published in Haiku Kada in 2024. Monsoon wind, sparrows and undergarments drying on clothesline. Monsoon wind, sparrows and undergarments drying on clothesline. This was also published in Haiku Kata in 2022. Setting sun, over my head a murmuration of mosquitoes. Setting sun, over my head a murmuration of mosquitoes. This was published in Akitsu Quarterly Journal in 2023. Roadside cafe. How much for the pastry with the fly? Roadside cafe. How much for the pastry with the fly? This was published in Frog Pond in 2023. So I'll read two unpublished poems now. Dried lake, in what remains, egrets. Dried lake, in what remains, egrets. Not quite, night jasmines. Not quite, night jasmines. Yeah, I am done. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sankaram. All right, so the next poet that I'm going to ask to come up is Srini. Right. Start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the poems.
Right. I am Srini. I am from Chennai, India. I'm currently located at the Rishi Valley School, which is near a small town called Madanapalli in Andhra Pradesh. I teach high school students English and elective literature. I got into haikai poetry about 6 years ago. Until then, I was writing short form poetry, mostly of the metrical kind. I was a little disillusioned back then with how my work was going, and haikai literature, haiku offered a chance to record my thoughts about the world, mostly the natural world, even when I was traveling. I was also inspired by my cousin, Mr. Ramesh Anand, who is a published haiku poet. So reading some of his poems and collections inspired me to get into haiku. And yes, belatedly, thank you for having me in the show. I thank Triveni Haikai India as well as Poetry Pea for this opportunity. Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Let's hear some of your poems.
Right. All right. As the others have done, I'll go with my published poems first. The first one is as follows. Train journey, the tunnel lengthens into night. Train journey, the tunnel lengthens into night. This appeared in the 5th issue of Haiku Kata back in March 2022. The next one, tumbler to tumbler, the chaiwala measures the height of his tea. Tumbler to tumbler, the chaiwala measures the height of his tea. This was also published on Haiku Kata, issue 17, March 2023. The next poet, windy night, the sky fastened with stars. Windy night, the sky fastened with stars. This won the second place for the Jane Reichold Haiku Award at the Ukiah Haiku Festival this year. And the last of my published poems, one of my favorites as well, Children Orphaned by War, Leaves in the Wind. Children Orphaned by War, Leaves in the Wind. Churidoro, issue 20, July-August 2024. I'll conclude with a couple of my unpublished poems. Clear morning, the wind whispers rain to a fisherman. Clear morning, the wind whispers rain to a fisherman. And the last one, when other stories end, the wind's own. When other stories end, the wind's own. Thank you.
Thank you, Srini. Let's move on to our next poet, which is going to be Samya. Okay, so Samya, thank you very much for joining us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into your poems.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Soumya Bansal, and I'm a journalism student from Agra, India. And I've always been passionate about writing poetry since my childhood. And I started writing haiku in the middle of 2020, and it's really been an enriching experience. And apart from poetry, I am really fond of dancing. I take part in a lot of national level dance competitions. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here today and to be sharing my poems with all of you. So here they are. Torrential rains, 3 chess games in a row. Torrential rains, 3 chess games in a row. This is from Haiku Katha, issue 33. Word of mouth, the arrival of monsoon rains. Word of mouth, the arrival of monsoon rains. This is from Modern Haiku, issue 53.3. Dotting orchard apples, the morning dew ripens. Dotting orchard apples, the morning dew ripens. This won the second place at the 26th Kusamakura Haiku competition. Radish harvest, a child's tug of war with the earth. Radish harvest, a child's tug of war with the earth. This won the first place at the 25th Kusamakura Haiku competition. Now the 2 unpublished ones. Power outage, the astronomer in all of us. Power outage, the astronomer in all of us. Sketching and erasing the hillside forest, morning mist. Sketching and erasing the hillside forest, morning mist. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person I'm going to ask to come up will be Shreya.
Hello,
Okay.
hi Alex.
Hi, Shreya. Thanks for joining us today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll hear your poems.
Okay, so I'm a writer, a haijin, a haikuist from India, and I started my journey as a writer back in 2013, where my first introduction to haiku was with Johannes Mandraker, an amazing, amazing poet and an amazing person as well. And then my second introduction was with Kalamam, and well, I've been attached with haiku ever since then. It has been a journey, I would like to say at least, because some of us, me, Ikra, Rohan, we have had this privilege of seeing haiku going from Triveni Haikai India, being a Facebook forum where thousands of poets would come and post their poetry, and give feedback and discuss and everything into it becoming Triveni Haikai India today that it is. And yeah, it's beautiful journey altogether. So yeah, that's my journey is no different than this. I have also been growing as a writer, as a human being, and haiku has been with me on every step of that journey. It's like I like to call, like I like to explain whenever I'm asked, like what's haiku, and I like to explain that when you click a picture and there's a camera, there's a subject of the picture, and then there's the click of the camera. So haiku is that click of the camera, and it has been capturing these moments of our lives ever since then. I would now like to read my first haiku, which is called Kaleidoscope. Back at home, there was this huge window in my room. For hours, I used to sit in front of it, looking at the clouds and trying to catch a fistful of them, admiring the birds who flapped their wings and chased freedom. Each morning, it changed its colors and had a new rainbow smiling somewhere. But every time before walking away, I asked the sky, why are you still stuck behind the bars? Nuptial knots, packing her anklet bills in a bubble wrap. Nuptial knots, packing her anklet bills in a bubble wrap. Published in World Haiku Review, Summer Issue 2021. Kardungla Pass, taking away what was left of my breath. Kardungla Pass, taking away what was left of my breath. Published in Haiku Katha Issue 5, March 2022. I tried to glue leaves back to their branches, Temple's Gate. I tried to glue leaves back to their branches, Temple's Gate. Published in Better Than Starbirds, July and August 2019, Volume 4, Number 4. Now I'd like to present my unpublished ones. Grades out, a bully hides the belt. Grades out, a bully hides the belt. Burning skyscape, I know now the color of his eyes. Burning skyscape, I know now the color of his eyes. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So the next person that I'm going to ask is Shurashri. Would you then please introduce yourself, and then we'll hear your poems?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much, Alex. And first of all, I would like to thank Kala and Patricia for this excellent opportunity to be a part of this amazing podcast with such amazing poets. My journey of haikai started really in 2020. It was kind of a refuge for me from COVID. And I was lucky enough to attend a few workshops with Kala, and I got to learn a lot. And later, I became a part of a wonderful group of haikai poets with Shloka Shankar, and I started experimenting a lot with haiku, with senryu, and my current obsession is found poetry, and I'm having a lot of fun. I am an English language teacher by profession, and I am also a Hindustani classical vocalist. Okay, now I would like to read out my poems. First, I would read the published ones. Bones in a skeleton, moving sands. Bones in a skeleton, moving sands. This was published in issue 19 of Haiku Katha. Kintsugi, if only I could afford the gold. Kintsugi, if only I could afford the gold. This was published in issue 17 of Suridoro. The next one is Carving a piece of me, one at a time, Thanksgiving. Carving a piece of me, one at a time, Thanksgiving. This was published last year in the special autumn theme issue of Petrichor magazine. My last published poem is Petrichor and the glue sniffers judge me. Petrichor and the glue sniffers judge me. This was published in December 2023 in Fresh Out magazine. And now for my unpublished ones. The cracks you left behind, wilting mogra. The cracks you left behind, wilting mogra. And the last one, food blogger, a pinch of awareness to taste. Food blogger, a pinch of awareness to taste. Thank you so much, Alex. That's it from my side.
Well, thank you very much for sharing those with us. Some beautiful poems there. The next person I'm going to ask to come up is Tanvi. So Tanvi, please tell us a little bit about yourself before reading out your poems.
So I really want to thank Kala ma'am, because being on Poetry Pea was on my bucket list. So this is like a dream come true, because I've submitted a lot of poems to Poetry Pea in the past.
Well, we're very happy to have you here.
So I am from Delhi. I'm an online tutor. I freelance, and I also am preparing for certain competitive exams. Last year, I started my own Instagram page at the rate Random Rhyme, on which I post my poetry. It can be slam, spoken word, and sometimes I even tell stories. And haiku was introduced to me when I was in 12th grade. And it was something that I didn't want to do because when I went to the class, I was like, 3 lines? That's it. I'm not going to go into this. I don't want to do this. And then at the end of the day, I had already written a few, and that's probably it. So I'm going to start with my poems. So I'm going to first recite the poems that are published. So, treasure hunt, rats, gang up inside the dustbin. Treasure hunt, rats, gang up inside the dustbin. This was published in Under the Bar Show on 7th August 2020. Juggling without an audience, my life. Juggling without an audience, my life. This was published in Failed Haiku on June 13, 2021. Litmus paper. How friends change into foes. Litmus paper. How friends change into foes. Again, this was published in Failed Haiku in the year 2022. Sugar-free cake. All the times I play pretense. Sugar-free cake. All the times I play pretense. This was published in Haiku Continuum on July 11th, 2021. And now my unpublished poems. Behind bars. A wolf howls through the wilderness. Behind bars, a wolf howls to the wilderness. Free dental checkup. A sunbathing crocodile bares its teeth. Free dental checkup. A sunbathing crocodile bares its teeth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanvi. Okay, so now we're going to ask Raghav to come up.
Hello, Alex.
Hi, Raka.
I'm currently traveling, and I'm in a place where my internet is very bad, so it's not letting me turn on my camera.
Please tell us about yourself, and then we can go through your poems.
Right. So I am from Chennai, India. I'm a manufacturing engineer by profession, and I currently work in Thailand in a factory that makes surgical gloves. So I've been reading haiku and senryu for a very long time. It was the only kind of poetry that I really got. It was always accessible, it was short, it was visceral, it had that kind of impact that no other poetry form had for me. And as I kept reading, I met Shloka Shankar, who I can call one of my best friends today. She introduced me to how to actually write these forms. And since then, I've been writing, and I am a part of the poetry collective that she runs. I will read some of my published poems. Phobos and Deimos, the in-laws arrive. Phobos and Deimos, the in-laws arrive. This is from Haiku Katha number 33 in July 2024. Writing off another year, tax day. Writing off another year, tax day. This is from Failed Haiku, issue number 67. My religion of glottal stops. Om. My religion of glottal stops. Om. This is from Prune Juice, May 2023. Still in grief's penumbra, dead sunflower. Still in grief's penumbra, dead sunflower. And two of my unpublished poems follow. After party, the tangerine stillness of sunrise. After party, the tangerine stillness of sunrise. Mine, if only for a moment, Orion. Mine, if only for a moment, Orion. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you for sharing your poetry with us. Thank you, Raka. So the next person I'm going to ask to come up, and we're going to have a bit of an extended conversation, is Namrata.
Hi,
All right,
Alex.
there you are. Hi there. So we'd really like to hear a little bit more about you, Namrata, and then I'd certainly like to know more about Triveni Haikai India, as well as Haiku Kata, which I believe you are responsible for.
Okay, so I'm Namrata Vardarajan. I'm from Bengaluru, India. And as a child, I was actually a math geek. I was into maths and physics. But somehow around, I think, 8 years back, I found poetry, and I've been in love with everything related to poetry. I write in themes related to feminism, to relationships, and our interconnectedness with nature. So basically, I'm all over the place, and I write protest poetry as well as Japanese forms. So that's how my poetic journey has been for the past 8 years. Um, so I'd love to talk more about haiku kata. So I am not responsible for it. I have been published in it. Yeah. So Haiku Kata is the monthly publication of Triveni Haikai India, and it comes out promptly on 22nd of each month. And I think the unique feature of Haiku Kata is that the selections for the poems for Haiku Kata are done from the various forums which are part of Triveni Haikai website. So as Muskan was saying earlier, she mentioned how there are multiple forums in the Triveni Haikai website. So there is Haiku Sutradar, there's Tanka Take Along, there is Haibun Gallery. So in all the forums, there are monthly prompts which are there are weekly prompts which are published. And the people of the community contribute to these forums, and the selections for haiku katha are made from these forums. So these forums are very there's a lot of workshopping going on here. So the best of them are published in haiku katha each month. I'd also like to add that the people, many of the poems which have been published in haiku katha have also been nominated as well as shortlisted for the Touchstone Awards as well as the Red Moon Anthology in the previous years.
Well, thanks for telling us a lot more about haiku kata. And we've also heard some today which have been published in this monthly journal of Triveni Haikai India. Speaking of which, I believe that Triveni Haikai has had a huge impact on your writing. You mentioned before that there's many different styles that you write in. So why don't you tell us about the impact that that's had on you and your writing?
Yes, I'd love to talk more about that. So I discovered Triveni Haikai India only a couple of years back. Till then, I was writing for protest poetry. I was writing in various different other forms. But I'd written a little bit about haiku and haibun. And I thought I knew how to write these Japanese forms. But it was only after I came to Triveni Haikai India that I realized how little I knew. And this is where I learned how to, all the subtle nuances that go into, I think, capturing a moment within a very few words, within 6 to 8 words. And you capture, the essence of what you want to say in so little words. And this is where I learned that. And from the basics, like, the cutting word or the kire, and the seasonal word or the kiro, and how there is, there's an Indian seasonal references, all these things which I didn't even have the language for before this. I think that all this I've learned through these, being a participant in these forums. And also, it's not only me. I think I read in an interview some time back, Billy D, one of the former poet laureates, she attributes learning Tanka to, I think, the previous version of Triveni Haikai India. And I think it has had a huge impact on not only my writing, and it's also on all the people who, Indians as well as international poets, who are in the haikai field.
Great. Well, thanks for telling us all about that. I certainly encourage everybody to check out Triveni Haikai India. As mentioned, the links will be in the show notes. So, Namrata, why don't we hear some of your poems?
Yeah, I'd love to share that. I'll start with the published poems. Babbling brook. A mina sings the higher notes. Babbling brook. A mina sings the higher notes. This was published in Haiku Katha 10. Thousands of pigeons. I follow the call of a lone bulbul. Thousands of pigeons. I follow the call of a lone bulbul. So this was published in Poetry Pea, I think a year or so back, in 1.22. Now I'll share my haibun. Out of the box. It's Friday evening and our dining table is covered with a patchwork of newspapers. My 9-year-old dips one brush into cerulean blue and other into Prussian blue and proceeds to paint with both hands, declaring, "This is an experiment." My husband is throwing paint on canvas. I am worried about the floor and what the maid will say tomorrow. The youngest is not even using paint. He dunks each used brush into murky water and swishes it on the paper. For a moment, I forget to color inside the lines. Leaf on the river, each breath a story. This was also published in Haiku Katha. Now for my unpublished haiku. Monsoon evening. Plastic covered heads hurry home. Monsoon evening. Plastic covered heads hurry home. Hard ice. Divorce papers signed with dry ice. Hard ice. Divorce papers signed with dry ice. Thank you.
Thank you, Namrata. Okay, great. So once again, a big thank you to all of our poets here. Special thank you as well to Triveni Haikai India, who was collaborating with us, Poetry Pea, on this podcast. It was a really great pleasure to hear about all of the individual poets, and as well as hear some of those beautiful poems, which we just were able to enjoy. So it's going to be goodbye from me and goodbye from all of our poets here. Thank you very much. Thanks once again to our poets and to Kala Ramesh and her team at Triveni Haikai India, which sounds like a great place to write poetry, doesn't it? And thanks to you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please think about sponsoring us with a membership or by buying us a coffee. Every donation helps keep this show on the road. That's been all for today. Thank you from me, and thank you from Poetry Pea, and have a good rest of your day.